post-game lobby where I am joined by Trouble and BrokenBlade. After we got a really nice interview, I feel like, with Caps and with Sjokz, who were the longest-standing members of the team, but now we also get to talk to one of the newest members of the team. Vivi, first up, congratulations.
Thank you, and thanks for having me as well.
No problem at all. Yeah, it was a clean sweep at 3-0, and that sounds so perfect, but that last game was everything from straightforward. I'd love for you to tell your story of that last game and the comeback.
So basically, we really into the early game, and I did a lot of like crazy plays, and that just failed in the game, and then they started to snowball the game, right? But we kept looking for I feel like we always kept looking for like good plays, even though I think we were 9-1 kills, but we were always being in their jungle and not they were in our jungle. Sure, it didn't end up very well in most of the plays, but at least we like pressured the enemies. And we even said in the game that it's not going great, but we should keep looking for good plays. And eventually the enemy team did a mistake and we took advantage of that and jinxed Lulu in late game. It's a bit unstoppable. Even though I think, yeah, it didn't go great for many of us, but I think FLICKR actually really performed this series, which I'm very, very proud of as well. Because I think he's a very promising player, actually. So I'm happy with the outcome.
Mm-hmm. So your coach said last week that what you guys have really improved on is playing from behind. Can you tell us a little bit about that? Because it felt like in this particular game you were so far behind, but you kept your cool, like you mentioned. You kept looking for the picks. What has changed in the mentality?
So the reason why we were so far, or like why we were bad at playing from behind, is because most of the time we are just ahead. So it's like, yeah, I think in scrims even we had like an 80%, 70% kind of win rate. So we are not always behind. So we always had to work on, because also our stage games before in the regular season, when we lost in a very, very hard kind of way, where we just got stomped, and we wanted to fix that. And I think we kind of did, even though I think, sure, if Vitality played better, they could have ended the game. But I think we did play well from behind, considering how well we were.
Good to know. One of our big focal points coming into the matchup was the top lane matchup, BrokenBlade, you versus Alphari, because both of your teams love to play around you, right? You get a lot of jungle attention. Your picks are just more interesting than I would say than many other top laners who maybe go the safe route. How much do you think it was down to like the individual level of skill between you and Alphari, or was it more kind of the big picture?
I mean, definitely it was a very, very interesting matchup because I like to play against people who challenge me. And I think Alphari is especially a player who challenges me as a player, at least, because he's very similar, I feel like, in terms of how we view the game and play the game. So, but I think today I was the one outperforming him in most matchups. I think the last matchup he actually played better than me in terms of laning and map play. But I'm also glad that my team also played well around me. I think we had good communication. The first game we had like a little, we got dove there, but I think other than that we were playing really well around top side. And the second game, Jax, obviously.
Yeah.
Actually, it's a very funny fact. Alphari actually kind of showed me this kind of pick with this item build.
Whoops.
And me using his pick against himself. And actually, like I think I had like 3 solo kills that game. It feels good, you know?
Yeah, solo kills always feels good. I'm sure it feels even better when it's in a competitive game. When it comes to kind of your journey so far with G2, obviously this is the first time that you stepped into a new system, right? Completely new players, completely new coaching team, a team that maybe plays differently around you. How much do you think you've evolved as a player, and where do you think you've improved so far?
I mean, it's definitely really, really fun to be playing under a big organization. Especially with Caps and Sjokz, who are already on the team, right, for a long, long time. And they have won many more championships than I did, for example. So I'm definitely learning a lot with how they just react to things, not necessarily gameplay-wise, but as a player, as a human being. I think Sjokz, for example, is you can really look up to him as a player, as a teammate. And I think he can lead the team very well. Even though, yeah, he does have his jokes, right, which is funny, but when he needs to be serious, he is serious, and you can really learn from the way he just reacts, you know.
What would you say is the thing that you have developed the most in your time in G2?
I'm not really sure. I think the reason why even G2 wanted me in the first place, is because I was evolving to a good player already. And I think my job is to just be better at the things that I was already doing great. And I think that is also taking leadership, just like Sjokz at certain times, because you can't always expect one guy to always be there, always be upping up the mood in the team. And I think I'm kind of like I bring in good vibes, you know? So I think that's also very important. And for gameplay-wise, I think just being always on top of the game, you know, and playing as many champions as possible, because I think, for me at least, it's really annoying to play against players like that ban a lot of stuff, or like play a lot of stuff, so then they would have to ban a lot of champions to be playing against it. And I think I'm that type of player. And yeah.
I gotta say, like, as someone who covers the game and whatever, it's always cool to see, because there are categories of top laners, there are categories of mid laners, people that go for these different picks or not. Do you think the fact that you're willing to go for this, you've always done this in your career, will be something that will help you not only in these playoffs, but as you continue to grow, maybe go to international tournaments?
I mean, for me especially, at the time at TSM, for example, I learned when to not pick crazy picks, because they can go really bad and you can end up being really useless. And I feel like in G2 now, especially with Dylan behind me, I have him behind me for 2 years as a coach now. This is going to be the second year. But he really can lead me well as well, because sometimes I want to go crazy, but he's like, okay, maybe it's better to just pick Jace or Gnar, you know? So it's always good to have people that like that, you know? And I don't take it offensive if he says, I don't think you should play X pick here, you know, just because it's a bit too crazy. But if it is good, I will pick it, and my team trusts me, because I think nowadays I can take the leadership if I play those champs and perform with it. But I also need to know as a player when it's too much, you know.
I feel like it sounds like it's a very healthy team environment. And especially when you're slotting in 3 brand new players and you only have Sjokz and Caps remaining behind, right? As BrokenBlade said, there's only so much Sjokz can hype everyone up, especially when things are going wrong. But it seems like even in the losses, even when playing from behind, if you can manage to keep like a very stable mentality and see how you can win the game. And I think that's what G2 did, especially in this game number 3. It shows that everything's possible.
That's true. I did hear right before that you said that Sjokz sometimes gives you a hard time.
Oh yeah, I mean, he likes to mess with me, and he also likes to mess with FLICKR. Okay. And but I know from his heart that he means the opposite from what he's saying. So in the end, I'm not taking offense again. I mean, we have a really good environment, I think, and I really like it. I have fun every day, which just makes everything 10 times better, I feel like.
Yeah.
So.
Obviously, and no, we know that he's always joking around. Speaking of FLICKR, though, he is the Kia player of the series. FLICKR is the Kia player of the series with 45% of the votes. Your teammates gave a lot of praise for him already. I think you did as well immediately. But it's a big stressful environment. I mean, for you, it's already stressful coming into a G2 org, right? The big org. But I can imagine for Targamas and for FLICKR, it's not any easier.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is that they are more like just newer players, but I think they don't have that rookie kind of mentality. They're not as shy, and I think FLICKR especially, he's more of an open guy, and he likes to, you know, just hang around with us, like the 1 a.m. basketball tweets and stuff. And he's always down for that. So I really like that. You know, he's just fun to be around with. And also Targamas, I think he always has his good opinions on the game. He also plays a lot of champions actually, and he can play them really well. So I'm just very happy with the teammates that I have, and also the coaching staff. And even the normal staff, I think everyone is like, they're doing great. So I'm very happy.
I also had a peek in your player room before, and there were a lot of good snacks, healthy snacks. That's important. I think that's an underrated part of the whole shebang. So this does mean, Trouble, that we're going to say goodbye to Vitality. Obviously, with everything that went on in terms of, you know, the roster, the super team moniker, this and that, I feel like there was improvement at points, but it just fell short in the, unfortunately, most important game.
I feel like, one, we have to commend you too for playing like absolute beasts today, because I don't think that anyone expected this series to be a clean sweep.
You voted for Vitality.
I did go 3-1 Vitality, because I believe versus the when I saw them versus the Excel series, I'm like, surely they're warmed up, surely they've got something up their sleeves, right? And not offers BrokenBlade, but I was expecting you'd bring out an Akshan and get clapped, but it wasn't the case, you know?
Jesus.
I'm just kidding you. I'm just kidding, you know that. No, but honestly, Vitality looked good, but they didn't unfortunately look as good. And as we know in EU, I think teams massively step up when it comes to playoffs, and especially when they fall through the lower bracket and they know it's their last chance. This is where you see true leadership and true veterans and true rookies coming online.
That's wow. So we didn't see the true veteranship.
I'm sorry,
on
BrokenBlade.
Vitality,
I didn't mean
apparently.
it.
What is your read actually on the whole Vitality situation? I mean, obviously, I think we expected much because they have these caliber of players, but the year is long, right? This isn't necessarily like a death sentence, but.
Well, I think they, first of all, had a really, really bad start into the split, 0-3, right? And I think it all snowballed from there. They also have really crazy players when it comes to gameplay. Like, they can go very crazy sometimes, especially Selfmade. I feel like he wants, or he likes to go crazy in terms of, like, gameplay and also picks as well. But I do like that, you know, I think they just couldn't get it together as, like, a team. And now they will have time to, you know, talk about it and maybe go in summer and they will be better, right?
Yeah.
But I think overall in the season, they weren't really impressive. But on paper, they are really, really strong players, right? So I think if they go into summer and prepare well, there might be a very, very different team than we just saw today.
Yeah, a little bit more time. Now, if we take a look at the bracket, on Sunday, you move on to face Misfits. And then that is, of course, your chance to then face off against the loser of Rogue versus Fnatic and then, in the end, make it to the final. Do you like being in the lower brackets? Do you like kind of the amount of games you get?
Well, I mean, I won my only title with going through the lower bracket, so obviously I would call this my comfort zone, right? And I think Jankos and Caps went through that one as well and won. And I want actually to have this experience with our bot lane as well, because I think it is going through the lower bracket and winning everything in the end is like the nicest feeling ever, because you prove everyone wrong, you know? And I think it's just really cool. So I will give my best. My teammates will give their best to win, you know?
Do you think your kind of expectation has changed with the way you've played today? Because I'm hearing a lot of confidence, and I think it should always be the case, because if you don't step into playoffs wanting to win, then why the hell are you here, right? But has your confidence grown because of this result specifically today?
I don't think so. I think the whole org G2 is there to win, and if no player thinks the same way, I think they would be on the team, right? So sure, we lost against Fnatic, but I don't think that the games were like that big of a gap. And I think Fnatic and probably Rogue actually are the best teams. And we're going to have to show against Misfits that we can 3-0 them as well and show a strong performance again to go into the next week against Rogue or Fnatic. And hopefully we can show that we can actually be better.
Yeah, one small question, of course. Can you show versus Misfits that a 14K gold lead is actually enough to win the game?
Well, actually, against Misfits, both games we almost threw. Actually, one game we threw, and the other game we almost threw. But we got ahead, right? Which is a good first step. And if you get ahead, I think, against Misfits, if I'm not wrong, I think they are one of the teams, maybe the team that is behind the most as like the remaining teams. So I think if you get ahead in the early game and we stay calm, and I especially take care of BTO, and I think we're going to be fine, especially with having Caps on the mid lane, right? I don't think that someone like BTO can outperform him every single game. So I'm very, very confident in our team and also Caps, right? So, yeah.
Yeah, Trouble, what do you think about that match?
I just love the way that I'm hearing Vivi talk about like Jankos and Caps.
That's
because
sweet.
they are the veterans in the team, and you show just so much respect and belief towards them and what they can do in game. It's just really heartwarming to hear.
It's great indeed. We're going to let you go quickly. The only thing we still need to ask about is Rogue versus Fnatic, which is tomorrow. Trouble, I'll let you go first. Two best teams in the LEC right now. Which way is it going to go?
Oh, I think this is the hardest one to predict, honestly. Most likely the two teams that are pulling away from the rest of the pack. I think it's really hard to call. It's going to be a 5-game series, but honestly, I don't know. I don't know which way. You know what? I'll give it to Rogue just because of the Malrang early game.
And all the fans
flair.
will vote for Fnatic anyway. So.
I think Rogue can win, but Fnatic is in favor. I think Fnatic has really, really good macro right now. Maybe the best in the EU right now. They play really well when they have their champs. So I think if they get their champs that they would want to play coming into the series, they could win. Maybe 3-0 even. But I think if Rogue prepares very well, they could actually take the series as well. So I think it will be interesting to see, especially because we want to go all the way, right?
Yeah.
So, but I think Fnatic is probably
Best macro in the LEC, so EU wouldn't be doomed if they win the split.
well. I mean, we are looking to win the split, right? So we'll see.
We'll see, indeed. Super exciting. Thank you, BB. It's going to be cool following G2 throughout the lower bracket. I'm going to set up for my selfie. You can say something if you want whilst I unlock my phone. Nope. Okay.
I'm just going to say one more time I was bantering with you.
Okay.
You're actually sick.
He's like apologizing. Never apologize for the banter.
No, but he knows, so it's fine.
All right, here we go. We all in position? Yep.
All right.
Awesome. That's all from us here tonight. Oh, I always forget. That's all from us here tonight. But you don't want to miss tomorrow. We'll be deciding the first finalists for the spring season between Rogue and Fnatic. Until then, bye-bye and have a great night, guys. Bye-bye.
The legendary duo, the best two mid laners to ever play in the LEC.
MSI Final, MSI Championship, multiple World Finals appearances. When Perkz takes to the stage playing against Caps, playing against Carlos, I think he's bringing his best today.
Caps might be a bit caught here. A little bit alone, Glacial Path going forward, gets the root ring of Phosphorus, and Tomb will follow up. Perkz found out by his former teammate. Caps gets him, and now the Dragon is forfeit for Vitality.
Surprised he chose not to go for the corrupting claws. Caps looks at the chains.
Good charm
Nice
as well.
charm.
Good escape by Perkz.
Perkz played that very well.
Submit has the Crescent Guard, LeBron has the Hook of Course, Alpari going in, stun, locked up, first blood already, and they look for two, as Jakos underneath the tower is locked in place, LeBron flashes for it, Vitality get two. Guns for this situation, he would have wanted the white guns, and now Kazi, that gun management will not pay off for him right now. BrokenBlade gets in, gets down LeBron, Submit tries to join the fight, Perkz does the same, but they just can't get in there, and Kazi will be shut down by BrokenBlade. G2 kept the fight going, and in the end they win it out. TP's now coming in from G2, BrokenBlade's going to join it, Alpari looking for the flank, onto FLICKR, you have to feel. Hexagon made him onto FLICKR, but the stopwatch won't stop time for a second to keep FLICKR alive. Two fights, two fronts. Selfmade locked up on the backline. Perkz already killed off Targamas, but Selfmade will fall next. Alpari trying to do what he can with only a third of his HP bar. Vitality dodging in and out of vision, but the dive in from Viego from Jankos. For anyone at home wondering what on earth does he mean by the thonk as the charm lands into the Everfrost, into LeBron with a follow-up stun. As Caps being locked up here, Targamas looking to chase in as well. Perkz locked up, able to Spirit Rush away. Caps still surviving on 100 HP, but it's not enough to escape from Perkz, who picks up his first kill of the game. Dragon is started up like a started on it. Jankos looking for the steal. Caps! No fucking way does Caps steal that from over the wall. He gets the Hextech Soul for G2. G2, dread it, run from it, but once again they reign supreme. They will destroy Vitality and meet up with Misfits on Sunday.